Hi, my name's Eric, and I'll be reading you selections from the e-edition of today's Cape Cod Times dated Monday, December 30th of 2024. And we'll start with the weather, as we always do. Across the Cape and Islands today, windy and mild with occasional rain, a high of 55 expected and a low of 39 in the overnight. Tomorrow, Tuesday, sun followed by increasing clouds for New Year's Eve. And on Wednesday, the new year begins with it being breezy in the morning, clouds and rain possible throughout the afternoon, a high of 49, low of 36. On Thursday, increasingly windy with clearing, high of 42, low of 30. And it gets chillier on Friday, mostly sunny, high of 37 during the day, 25 the expected low at night. Sunrise today will happen at 7:08 a.m. It'll set at 4:20 p.m. We'll have 9 hours, 12 minutes of daylight. Heading to the front of the paper where the news and the lottery results are usually kept. And we read these lottery results because, well, somebody asked for them. If there's something you would like read to people who are blind or print impaired, you can email us at info@audiblelocalledger.org. or call us at 508-539-2030 and we'll consider reading it. And if you miss any of the information we share in our readings, you can also go to audiblelocalledger.org, click on the Listen tab, and you'll catch up to a week's worth of our newspaper readings. There's also a wide variety of periodicals and literature that stay up there in perpetuity, and we keep our grocery guides up there, so we know what is on sale at the supermarket. All of that is free for people who are blind or visually impaired at audiblelocalledger.org, the Listen tab. For the latest results of the lottery, we go to the masslottery.com website. Cape Cod Times goes to press too early to give you the latest results, and if you ask for them, you certainly deserve them. So for the numbers game of Sunday, December 29th, in the midday drawing, the results were 6-2-6-7. The midday drawing again yesterday in the numbers game was 6-2-6-7. The evening drawing last night of the numbers game, 5-8-7-5. Again, last night's drawing of the numbers game, 5-8-7-5. Mass cash for Sunday, December 29th, 2, 4, 20, 24, and 27. And Lucky for Life rounds out our lottery results for Sunday, December 29th with 7, 18, 26, 35, and 38. 1 is the bonus number. Good luck to all who play. Remember us if you win. From the front page of the Cape Cod Times, the headline above the fold, if there was such a thing in a digital newspaper, reads, "I Need Help. Cranberry Farmer and Yarmouth are at odds over sewer plan," by Rachel Devaney in West Yarmouth. Chris Wilson motioned toward his family's 37 acres of snow-covered cranberry bogs that stretch along Route 28. He then pointed to the ground where yellow spray-painted lines indicate where the town plans to install a sewage pumping station on neighboring land, part of Phase 1 of the town's multi-million-dollar sewer system. The town has mostly ignored his pleas to find a new location for the pumping station, Wilson said on December 23rd at the bog property. The pumping station will be built close to his family's bogs and agricultural wetlands. Wilson's Fresh from the Vine farm stand, a repurposed cranberry red RV, is also in jeopardy, he said, because the proposed pumping station and shed cover will overlap a parking area he uses. Known as Pump Station Number 2, the structure is planned at 316 Route 28, according to town records. The land is owned by Cranberry View LLC. Robert Johnson Jr. of Cotuit is the LLC resident agent, according to state records. The bogs at 0 Route 28 have been owned by Mello Wilson Cranberry Corp. Since 1989. Stephen and Brian Wilson of West Yarmouth are company officers, state records show. The two officers are family members of Chris Wilson. The farm stand is also on the bog property, Chris Wilson said. "I'm stuck. I need help," Wilson said. He has started an online fundraiser to pay an attorney. "I don't know what to do next." Select Board member Mark Forrest referred questions to the town's response to Town Administrator Robert Ritenour and Town Department of Public Works Director Jeff Colby. Ritenour and Colby were not immediately available on December 26th to respond. In a non-binding measure in Article 2, residents at a December 9th special town meeting voted to move the planned pumping station away from the Wilson's Bog property. At the meeting, some voters said they were concerned that the pumping station could malfunction during extreme weather conditions like flooding. Craig Williams of South Yarmouth called the Wilson's Bog a scenic vista and said the proposed location of the pump station was the worst possible that the town could have chosen. During the session, town attorney Elizabeth Leyden made clear the measure cannot be enforced. Town meeting is essentially the local legislature, but its powers are defined and limited under the law, Leyden said. Town meeting authority does not extend to designing, modifying, or otherwise permitting projects, especially projects that already have been funded, said Leyden. This project has already been designed and approved, and town meetings already appropriated funding for it. Leyden said she provided advice to the town about the petition article at the town's request. During the special town meeting, Colby said that any and all contracts have already been approved for Phase 1. If the pumping station was redesigned, Colby estimated the change could cost the town roughly $1 million. The delay could also impact the town's 0% loan phase and 6.6% debt forgiveness deal it has with the state, he said. What do these sewer pump stations do? Town meeting voters in April of 2023 agreed to spend $207.2 million to embark on Phase 1 of a wastewater system out of 8 phases. There are 5 proposed pumping stations included in Phase 1, according to a presentation by Colby. Pumping stations move sewage on its way to a treatment facility at 99 Buck Island Road, Colby said. Chris Wilson said he's fearful that a natural disaster could damage the system and then leak sewage into the bogs. He's equally worried that an existing retaining wall between the bogs and the property where the pumping station is planned could be damaged or weakened by construction. Currently, says Colby, the town is negotiating with Johnson to secure an easement to his property at 316 Route 28 for the pumping station. Are there safeguards in place? Any structures will be located 10 feet away from the retaining wall, said Colby. The wall will be monitored throughout construction, and contractors will be responsible for any damage to existing infrastructure, he said. The pumping station will also have vault linings, double penetration seals, 3 active pumps and a spare pump, water level monitors, automated controls and alarms, daily operator inspections, and multiple backup generators, Colby said. It'll also be designed to handle peak summer flows, and there'll be an on-site emergency generator. All critical equipment will be elevated 3 feet above 100-year flood elevation levels, he said. The pumping stations need to be adjacent to low points in the collection system, which is why the town had trouble finding locations, Colby said. Town officials considered placing the pump across the street from Wilson's Bog, but conservation restrictions prevented that option, he said. I'm one of the last 4 cranberry growers in this town, and as far as I'm concerned, the elevations aren't going to work, said Chris Wilson. No matter the strength of the system, said Wilson, the area has been known to flood. Is there an easement? Johnson told the Times on December 22nd that he's corresponded with the town through email, but said no deal has been made. At this point, the town's talking about me, but not to me, he said. He's also worried about the retaining wall. Johnson has owned 316 Route 28 for just over a year, he said, but just began running his business Midnight Mail at the site 3 months ago. He said he has growing concerns surrounding the future health of the bog and surrounding wetlands, but he's also aware, he said, that the town needs some kind of wastewater treatment system. For now, Johnson said he's trying to let the dust settle. I want to do what's healthy for the town from a sanitation and sewage standpoint, said Johnson, but before I would ever allow an easement to go in, I want to know that everyone is protected. The other local story in today's Cape Cod Times, dated December 30th, a Monday. Iconic Nantucket landscape designated a national natural landmark by Heather McCarran. An iconic Nantucket landscape of rolling dunes and sheltered spits of land has gained recognition as a national natural landmark. Secretary of the Interior Deb Haaland on December 19th announced the National Park Service's designation of Nantucket Barrier Beach and Wildlife Refuge among U.S. natural landmarks, bringing their number to 606. According to the agency, landscapes are chosen for this recognition because of their outstanding condition, illustrative character, rarity, diversity, and value to science and education. Jointly managed by the Nantucket Conservation Foundation, the trustees of reservations, and the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, the barrier beach protects Nantucket Harbor and the town from the effects of waves. Karen Beatty, Foundation Vice President of Science and Stewardship, said stewards of the site are all very excited about the recognition of an important and unique site, known to locals as the Haulover Cascada Coteau Great Point area. This designation is a national recognition of the significant ecology and ecosystem benefits of this beautiful property, she said. Beatty explained that the multiple salt marshes along the refuge aid in coastal resilience in the face of climate change and sea level rise, and the rolling dunes and beaches shelter and provide nesting habitat for thousands of colonial waterbirds and migrating shorebirds every year. The designation doesn't come as a complete surprise. Federal authorities first reached out to us about the possibility of designating the refuge as an NNL area more than 15 years ago, and it has slowly been making its way through their system, Beatty said. We're excited to have the process come to a successful conclusion. What is very significant about the Barrier Beach area, she said, is the unique geologic processes that formed the 6 cuspate spits, first through Wyers Points on our inner harbor and also the old dune fields around Cascada Pond. There's no other site similar to this anywhere else, she said. Cuspate spits are curved projections of beach into an enclosed or semi-enclosed body of water, where there's a limitation to the distance traveled by wind and waves, according to the National Park Service, which notes on its website that Nantucket's rhythmic series of symmetrical cuspate spits are easily the best organized and formed among any in the Atlantic coastal plain. The pits are in nearly pristine condition, maintaining their sweeping natural form, the agency says. Largely free from development, the erosion and accretion along the shoreline are allowed to follow natural patterns and processes, and cuspate spit series are globally rare. The service also highlighted the Barrier Beach system's well-developed symmetrical cuspate foreland, which it describes as the curved part of a beach open to a large body of water, like the ocean, where there's no limitation to the distance traveled by wind and wave. The foundation of the landscape was laid more than 20,000 years ago by sand deposited by glaciers. Besides the geologic features, the area is also noted for its diversity of plants and animals and providing nesting habitat for piping plovers, a threatened species of shorebird. According to the Conservation Foundation, the landscape also provides protection for eelgrass beds, which host the island's famed bay scallops. The National Natural Landmarks Program recognizes and encourages the conservation of publicly and privately owned and managed places that contain noteworthy biological and geological resources, according to the Park Service. The service works cooperatively with landowners, managers, and partners to promote conservation, though Beatty emphasized that land use and management is still at the discretion of the property owners. U.S. Senator Elizabeth Warren applauded the designation in an email on Friday. This designation recognizes the uniqueness of our Nantucket beaches and is a win for residents and wildlife alike, she stated. I'm grateful to Secretary Haaland for helping us preserve this Massachusetts treasure. Haaland said in a statement that the Nantucket Barrier Beach and Wildlife Refuge holds immense value to scientists and nature lovers alike, and its designation as a national landmark will help to preserve and protect this unique ecological diversity for generations to come. National Park Service Director Chuck Sams also weighed in, saying in the same statement, national natural landmarks shine a light on outstanding examples of our nation's natural heritage. And in the case of Nantucket Barrier Beach and Wildlife Refuge, the designation recognizes an area that's not only scenic, but also teaches us so much. A little bit about what is ahead on New Year's Eve. Ring in 2025 with Cape Cod New Year's Eve celebrations and events by Desiree Nickfarjum of the Cape Cod Times. New Year's Eve comes out only once a year, so it's right to mark the end of a year and the start of another with some sort of celebration. Maybe the off-season on Cape Cod, but there are still plenty of options. Whether you like live music or a DJ, a sit-down show or dancing, fireworks or a party the kids can enjoy, there's something for everyone on December 31st. That's tomorrow night. First Light celebration in Provincetown. If you're looking for a little bit of everything, join Provincetown for its annual First Light celebration. What better way to ring in the new year than with 4 days of live performances, arts, food, and shopping on Commercial Street. The celebration caps off with fireworks at 5 p.m. December 31st at McMillan Pier. What else is part of the First Light celebration? The Light Bright Bike Ride starts at 4:30 p.m. at Provincetown Public Library. You can join others in a lit-up bike ride through the streets of Provincetown before heading to McMillan Pier for fireworks. It's free to join up. First Light celebration also includes the New Year's Day Polar Bear Plunge. How about First Night Chatham? Chatham's 34th New Year's Eve party. With more than 70 performances and events, join Chatham's First Night Committee of Volunteers for their family-friendly, alcohol-free celebration. Events are happening all day from noon to 10 p.m. and there's something for everyone. Just make sure you don't miss the fireworks at 6 p.m. on Veterans Field. While some events are free, like the fireworks, some require a button for entrance. Cost ranges from $5 to $30. Children 2 and under are free. Don't wait to buy your button. Family First Last Night 2025 in Sandwich Historic Town Hall. It can be hard to make New Year's Eve plans with young children, but Sandwich Arts Alliance has you covered from 3 to 5 p.m. Families are welcome for songs, stories, games, and more at the Sandwich Historic Town Hall. It's $10 for adults and $5 for children age 5 to 15, and free entry for children under 5. You can get your tickets at sandwichartsalliance.org. A family-style New Year's Eve at Ryan's. Why wait to see the ball drop in Times Square on TV when you and your family can experience a live balloon drop at Ryan's New Year's Eve celebrations at all Cape Cod locations? Enjoy bowling, arcades, and air park parties. The countdown and balloon drop is at 7:45 p.m., and you can reserve at ryanfamily.com. Midnight at the Mansion, the Ocean Edge Resort in Brewster. Ocean Edge Resort and Golf Club is hosting a night of dinner and dancing at the Mansion on New Year's Eve. The option for dinner in the Mansion from 7 to 9:30 p.m. is only available to those who bought tickets for the dancing portion of the night, which is from 9 p.m. to 1 a.m. The New Year's Eve Bash 2024, Margaritaville in Hyannis. It may still be a few more months before we hit Cape Cod summer, but how about spending New Year's Eve in paradise? Margaritaville Resort is hosting a New Year's Eve party with a comedy show, champagne toast, appetizers, dancing, and activities for kids. Tickets are $100 for adults over the age of 21, $20 for children 5 and up. Scamps, New Year's Eve comedy at the Cotuit Center for the Arts. Why not be the one to have the last laugh of 2024? The Cotuit Center for the Arts and Scamps Comedy are working with 3 comedians, Jim Roberti, Brad Mastrangelo, and Matt MacArthur, to bring a funny start to the new year. The event's $37, seniors pay $35, members pay $32. It's an 18-plus event. There's a cash bar. Pelham House has a New Year's Eve bash. The Pelham House Resort is bringing the party to Cape Cod with a night of live entertainment, buffet-style foods, a rooftop setting, a dance floor, and a midnight champagne toast. Festivities start at 8 p.m. and run to 1 a.m., and tickets are $220 per person. This is a 21-plus event. Hint of Sparkle at Wecquasit Resort and Golf Club in Harwich. Ring in the new year with a 4-course prix dinner menu designed by James Hackney, executive chef, dancing and live entertainment from Ray Green and the All-Nighters. If you don't want the night to end, book an overnight package. Massachusetts unemployment claims have increased, changing the subject dramatically from all those parties. This is from staff reports. Initial filings for unemployment benefits in Massachusetts rose for the week ending December 21st compared with the week prior, the U.S. Department of Labor said Thursday. New jobless claims, a proxy for layoffs, increased to 10,578, up from 8,870 the week before, the Labor Department said. U.S. unemployment claims dropped to 219,000. That's down 1,000 claims from 220,000 the week prior on a seasonally adjusted basis. Kentucky saw the largest percentage increase in weekly claims, with claims jumping by 64.9%, and West Virginia, meanwhile, saw the largest percentage drop in new claims, with claims dropping by 29.1%. At this point, we'll move to a different kind of local news in the Cape Cod Times of December 30th. The obituaries and death notices listed in today's paper. The first obituary is of Ted Theodoris of Charlton, Massachusetts, who passed on December 24th at the age of 89. Ted earned a Bachelor of Science in Mechanical Engineering from UMass Amherst in 1958 and an MBA from Babson in 1967. In 1958, he married Louise Guillemette in Webster, and they raised 2 children. Ted began his career at Held Machine Company in Worcester before joining Polaroid in 1962 as a service engineer. In addition to his professional career, Ted had a deep commitment to service. He served in the Massachusetts National Guard for 12 years. Thank you, Mr. Theodoris, for your service and sacrifice, and he achieved the rank of first lieutenant. In midlife, he fulfilled his childhood dream of becoming a pilot and earned his license, going on to serve more than 15 years as a mission pilot flight instructor with the Civil Air Patrol. In 2003, he earned his captain's license from the U.S. Coast Guard as a merchant marine officer, further pursuing his love for boating. He was a hard worker, driven by a passion for excellence in everything he did, and his can-do attitude inspired those around him. Above all, Ted valued family. He was a devoted father, grandfather, and role model, always expressing gratitude for the blessings in his life. After retiring, Ted moved to Cape Cod, where he enjoyed boating, fishing, tennis, and painting. In 2009, he founded Friends of Barnstable Harbor, a nonprofit dedicated to preserving the harbor he loved, and he served as president during the organization's initial years. Ted was an active Freemason, achieving the degree of Master Mason at Webster Lodge in 1957, further advancing to the 32nd degree level in the Valley of Worcester Scottish Rite in 1968. He was a member of several lodges on Cape Cod, while he served as Masonic ambassador and district service officer. Ted is survived by his former wife, Louise of Falmouth, and many who will miss him dearly. A memorial service will be held on Wednesday, January 8th at 10 a.m., with a wake on Tuesday, January 7th from 6 to 8 p.m., both at Saints Constantine and Helen Greek Orthodox Church, 37 Lake Parkway in Webster, Mass. In lieu of flowers, please consider donating to Saints Constantine and Helen Greek Orthodox Church, or Friends of Barnstable Harbor, or the Masonic Health System. The other obituary in today's Cape Cod Times is of James T. Kalperis, who passed on December 27th, about 3 weeks after his 95th birthday and shortly after celebrating his final Christmas with his family. His loving son and daughter were by his side. He was born December 3rd, 1929 in Westbrook, Maine, to Greek immigrants at the onset of the Great Depression. It's no coincidence that growing up in this period indelibly shaped his life. He was forever a man of and for the people, leading his life with humility while quietly and anonymously always there to help anyone in need. He met his wife, Angel, on a trip to Greece with his uncle one spring in support of the American Friends of the Blind in Greece. They fell madly in love and were married in Athens. Shortly after graduating from UVM in 1955, they moved to Falmouth, where they raised their 2 children. He taught biology and sciences at Lawrence High School in the fall of 1955 and was soon offered a position of coach and then of the then fledgling track program. The first track meet he ever saw was the first one he coached. He coached track and cross-country teams starting in 1959 for 11 years and moreover set them on a winning path and tradition. In 1968, the high school was plagued by overcrowding. Jim helped conceive and implement a novel and successful open campus program, the first of its kind in the state. Jim is survived by many family and friends who will miss him dearly. Calling hours will be held on Thursday, January 2nd from 2 to 5 p.m. at Chapman Funeral Home, 475 Main Street in Falmouth, and Friday, January 3rd, from 3 to 5 p.m. at the Coate Funeral Home, 87 James Street in Saco, Maine. The funeral service will be held Saturday, January 4th, at 10 a.m. at St. Demetrius Greek Orthodox Church, 186 Bradley Street in Saco, Maine. A celebration of his life will be held on Saturday, February 8th, from 1 to 3 p.m. at the Flying Bridge Restaurant, 220 Scranton Avenue in Falmouth. In lieu of flowers, any donations may be sent in his memory to American Friends of the Blind in Greece. There is also a death notice of Michael Richardson of Falmouth, who at the age of 72 passed on December 27th. Arrangements are with Chapman Funerals and Cremations. And that concludes the obituaries and death notices listed in today's Cape Cod Times of December 30th, a Monday. We'll close with a little Cape and Islands, closing out the local news. A whale found dead on another Massachusetts beach by David Smith of the Patriot Ledger. A small whale washed ashore on Wrexham Beach in Marshfield on Thursday morning. It's among a growing number of whales that have been found dead along the South Shore and Cape Cod coast in recent weeks. The Patriot Ledger reached out to the nonprofit organization Whale and Dolphin Conservation USA to confirm the animal's age and species. In addition to the Marshfield whale, a dead whale washed up on Bayside Beach in Plymouth December 9th. In Brewster, the carcass of another humpback whale washed ashore on the beach between Crosby Landing Beach and Linnell Landing Beach the weekend of December 14th and 15th. 5 large beached whales have died recently along shores between Weymouth and Plymouth, according to Regina Esmacudis Silvia, Executive Director of Whale and Dolphin Conservation USA. Since January of 2016, a rising number of humpback whale deaths have occurred along the Atlantic coast from Maine to Florida, according to National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration. Some people assume that whale deaths are automatically associated with accidental vessel strikes or fishing rope entanglement. But whales suffer from other health problems like viruses and bacterial infections that can contribute to death, Asmacudis Silvia said. Necropsies, animal autopsies, are performed on the whales when possible, and results from those can take up to 12 weeks to come back. Preparation for necropsies are performed on the whales when possible. They usually include attaching an anchor to the base of the whale's tail to ensure the whale stays in place on the beach during the tidal change, according to Whale and Dolphin Conservation. Anyone who comes across a marine mammal from Weymouth to Plymouth that's in distress or is deceased can call Whale and Dolphin Conservation's hotline at 617-688-6872. In addition to calling the hotline, the organization asks anyone who encounters such incidents stay at least 150 feet away from the animal, note the location, and then take photos if possible. And with that advice, we've come to the end of our reading of the Cape Cod Times for today, Monday, December 30th of 2024. Wishing everybody a very happy new year. Our programming schedule will be fairly scattered over the next week as volunteers are off and most of the office is closed for the better part of the week. Wishing you a very happy and healthy 2025. This is your reader, Eric, saying be well, be safe, look after each other. Bye for now.